Greetings, welcome back. Happy New Year. We are back for another special episode of the Death, Taxes, and Sports podcast. My name is Jeff Long. I'm here with my esteemed colleagues, Mr. Ben Holloway, and we have Marissa Tigney, who has a lot of smiles on her face. She can actually celebrate something as a Michigan fan of sorts, but Pistons, not so much. Got to throw a little bit of shade. Wouldn't be doing my job. But how are y'all beautiful folks doing?
Be nice. Queen of DTS, Marissa, how are you
Queen
feeling?
of DTS.
How are
that
you
crown
feeling?
Is not coming now.
First of all,
got lost in the shipment.
First of all, I just want to say hello, gentlemen. It's been a minute. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to the audience. Yes, there is a lot to celebrate. The Lions, waiting that 30 years of going of winning the NFC North. And then my boys did what my boys do, what my boys do, what my boys do.
All right. Marissa's back, baby. Marissa's back. Let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. We got national championship game. Let's do it.
Yeah, but first, I got to take care of some business. Wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't give my fraternity a shout out for happy belated Founders Day.
Yes,
my brothers, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Had to rock the letters. 110 years of culture for service for humanity.
Beautiful.
I'm a proud Sigma. Got to give some love.
Happy Founders Day.
That are Sigmas.
Yes.
Thank you. Emmett Smith, Jerry Rice, Heinz Ward, Charlie. Hey, I'm just saying, man. Charlie Bax. List can go on and on. And Michael Irving, of course.
Gotta love it.
But,
Gotta love it.
Had to say it. Yes, just had to get that out the way. But Marissa, I'm sorry. I'm gonna get it.
I didn't know that about Charlie Bax. I did not know that until you posted that information.
Yep, Charlie Batch is a Sigma. Charlie Strong, also a Sigma.
Yep, the coach.
Yeah, the black
head coach. Yeah, black head coach.
Yep, and Bill Clinton.
Defensive Clinton. Okay, Marissa, it's your team.
All right.
Michigan. Here's your time.
Let's give you the spotlight.
You got
Now's
some
the
time. Right
Let's just get it over with.
Let's get it over with. Speak your truth, girl. Speak your truth.
First of all, shout out to everybody that is a true amazing blue fan. Thank you very much. We finally did it. We finally reached the pinnacle, the top, the creme de la creme of Michigan Wolverines football. And today, breaking news, the NCAA president said that Michigan, quote unquote, and I'm quoting him saying, Charlie Parker, saying that Michigan won their championship, quote, fair and square. There will be no more investigations of the wins. No wins will be vacated. So I'm sorry, you Ohio State Buckeye haters and you Michigan State wannabe players. Y'all, this is not your day. It is not your time. Your girl is back on the ones and twos, telling it like it is. Shout out to everybody that has been through the promised land, through the wait for so long, thinking that Jim Harbaugh was not going to win this title. He finally does. He finally gets that huge weight off of his shoulders that he can, number one, win a bowl game, which he did, which was the Rose Bowl, to get to the promised land, which was the national championship, to take care of the granddaddy of them all and the daddy of college football, who I know we're going to go in and talk about later on, his shocking retirement. But to go in there and to snatch one from Alabama and to go in there with a mighty big defense that has that literally was shown all throughout the season in the fantastic job that Jesse Minter has done with this defense is absolutely something special. 144 is an absolutely special team that cannot and will never be the same in moving forward. So I am just so proud of this team, what they had to face, what Coach Harbaugh had to face, the distractions. It could have distracted, could have derailed this team, but it did not. And so, congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines, to the Maize and Blue. And, I'm just excited about it, gentlemen. I really am. I remember everything of 1997 with Brian Greasy and to connect to Charles Woodson from that game. I know all y'all were probably little and small at the time, but just to, the wait, the patience has paid off. The last time that we're going to have this 4 college football team playoff, now it goes to 12, and we'll see what the community can screw up next year. This was a preview of the Big Ten what's going to be now that Washington is no longer part of the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is pretty much has broken up like a band that has gone on its farewell tour.
You're going off the railroads. Pac-12 is not part of this conversation.
Hey, listen, it's been, you got to give me a moment, man.
It's gone. It's gone, baby. We out. We out, man. Got to steer the train back on the tracks. I'm just giving you a hard time.
No worries. I'm just proud of my team, so go Blue.
Yeah, you should be. And I'm going to keep it simple with the numbers. This is going to, I don't need to say much, and numbers are going to speak for themselves. So Washington had 301 yards total the entire game. Michigan had 303 yards rushing. 301 total yards, 303 yards rushing. 51 passes by Washington compared to 18 passes by Michigan. 20 running plays for Washington, 38 for Michigan. And turnovers. Washington had 2, Michigan had 0. That's it.
And Washington was held to its lowest score of the season to 13 points.
It was pure, for the most part, pure domination, and Washington could not stop the run. Jeff, you want in? Go at it.
So let me just say first, as an Ohio State fan, I am not a hater. I did say on record.
And you picked Washington. Talk about it.
Was being targeted. Yeah, I did. Like I said, I have region bias. I lived in Seattle for a couple years. I got some friends that went to UW. I've seen Penix a couple times living there. So, I got a little bit of a bias, and I can't root for the team up north. But here's what I'm going to say.
Blah, blah, blah.
Here's what I'm going to say. Washington, the minute that Johnson went down in the semifinals against Texas, I knew this game was over. Okay. This was the guy who accounted for 67% of the total rushing production for this team. Okay. He's literally the only running back that had any type of upside to run between tackles, to catch from the backfield. He did everything for them.
Right.
He was literally the heartbeat of that team. So when he's not playing at his full strength, that completely changes up the style of play that has made them successful. They are more of a passing team, but those times that they did run the ball, they were very, very, very effective, which allowed them to be able to win a lot of close games. Michigan deserved this win. They were the better team, and they just straight beat the snot out of Washington. Got to give Michael Penix a ton of credit. He had 4 straight season-ending injuries at Indiana, followed his assistant, going to Washington. This team was 4-8 2 years ago, and for them to turn around and end the season 14-1, still a heck of an accomplishment.
Number two in the Heisman voting. Penix.
Michigan was not going to be denied in this game.
Yeah,
that's simple. There's nothing you can do about it. Put the bias away. Michigan was the better team. They deserved it. But boy, did they run that ball effectively. They ran that ball, and they're going to be something interesting to watch next season. So now, I got to propose this question. Go ahead. I just got to propose this question to you. You know what I'm going to ask, Ben?
I already know what you're going to ask.
Harbaugh come back? I have to ask the question. Does Harbaugh come back? And then Ben, and then we can go on to the next.
See, here's the thing.
We got to let Gary in this conversation. He's here.
Oh, hey, Gary.
He's here. We got to.
Yeah, I'm here, but I can't hear a single thing that Jeff's saying right now. But I can hear your reactions, Ben, no problem. But I can't hear Jeff.
Your thoughts on the game.
All right, well, Gary, your thoughts while you can hear us. Your thoughts, Michigan, Washington.
Well, first of all, happy 2024. Hail to the victors, happy founders, all that. We're just going to cover all the bases right now, first and foremost. Second of all, the witch hunt should be over now that Harbaugh has brought Michigan its long overdue championship. Controversy aside, they played well with him. They played well without him. They deserve to be your national champion. They took down Alabama and sent Nick Saban into retirement. They went ahead and took down Michael Penix in Washington and sent him basically out of the first round, if we're being honest. Like, they did everything that they set out to do, and if years later we find out some other stuff, so be it. But right now, you acknowledge the champions, and as I said when we started, hail to the victors. Congratulations to them, and congratulations to Harbaugh. Wherever he ends up next, whether it be with the Chargers, Bears, or whoever along the way, Alabama, throw that out there too. Whoever, he has earned the right, to have carte blanche over the next job that he wants. He has the pick of the litter.
Now, hey, all fair facts. But before we conclude, I just have to ask this question: Harbaugh, does he come back? He doesn't come back. Where's the ideal fit? Just real quick, 30 seconds, and we'll just keep this thing going. But Tiffany,
I'm prepared for him to leave until the NCAA president put that post up saying that they won the championship fair and square. And now it's going to be President Santaono and the AD Ward Manuel to do whatever they can to keep him there. But mentally, I'm still prepared for him to go and take that NFL job.
I think he should say that if he's got a good thing going at Michigan, why leave?
I mean, the checkbook is out. They're going to do whatever they can after the parade to keep him there. We'll see how it goes.
Cement yourself.
Real quick. Jeff, real quick. You said why leave? Jimmy Johnson, Pete Carroll, championships in college, championships in the NFL.
That's all fair. All
that would be because the money is going to be about the same. To Marissa's point, they're going to pay as much as they can to keep him. So the money is going to be relatively equal unless some NFL owner goes crazy. But I think it's right there to be. He was so close to winning a Super Bowl. He was so close, but it didn't do it yet. So,
and now the Big Ten is going to be competitive with 4 teams coming from the Pac-12 in. It's going to be interesting.
College football in general, y'all. We about to have a Big 2 conference with the SEC. They're about to just absorb everyone. I'm telling you, ACC is about to dissolve, but we'll talk about that another day. But go ahead.
I was just gonna say we can move to the shocking announcements if we want to. Nick Saban and Pete Carroll. Saban retiring and Pete Carroll apparently getting fired. If you look at the media quotes of the last couple of days, Carroll did not want to leave. He wanted to coach. There's a difference there. Saban actually retired. So just to be clear there. But I'm going to spend most of my time on Saban, and I'll be quick with the numbers. But I'm only going to talk about the SEC schools because he had an amazing coaching career. But at Alabama and LSU is where I stuck with as far as numbers go. At Alabama, he won 87% of his games. 201-29. That was his record. 87% of the time he won. 87.4 to be exact. LSU wasn't quite as dominant, but was still pretty dominant. 48-16, which is 75% winning percentage. And this is in the SEC, the hardest conference in college football. Louisiana State, LSU, Alabama, combined the records of those 2 schools, 249 wins and 45 losses. 249 wins, 45 losses. Adds up to 85% in the toughest conference, just insane. And since 1998, and I'll leave it here, since 1998, Saban has a total of 7 championships in college football. The next 3 guys that have the most equal 7. He has 7. Mm-hmm. Urban Meyer 3. Kirby Smart 2. Dabo Swinney 2. So 7 for one guy, Saban, and 7 for the next 3. I rest my case.
He is on the path. And Tigney, true or false, would you put him in the same level of a John Wooden, but just for college football?
Absolutely. You can love him or you can hate him, ladies and gentlemen. And he knows how to win. Nick Saban is kind of like the Coach K of football. Coach K for Duke, everybody couldn't stand Duke. Why? Because Coach K knew how to get his players to win. Whether they be a brand new team, their young team, it didn't matter. The formula was that Coach K knew exactly what he was doing, instilled it into his players. They went on that court and literally waxed everybody. What was the biggest rivalry in the early 90s? It was Michigan and Duke. And then always the rivalry, North Carolina and Duke. That's what put booties in the seats. That's what got the students pumped. It didn't matter, but the legacy of Coach K got his stamp of approval on the hard court that will never come off. Same thing. This is what I expect Alabama to do, because the man brought them many championships, many opportunities after, in the top 25, literally the top 10 or top 5. Alabama's going to do absolutely something for this man. I mean, the legacy of Nick Saban, we can go back and talk about it all day long, gentlemen, about when he turned a dismal Michigan State team around, and when he turned the LSU team around and they won their national championship. And then obviously the run that he had at Alabama. Unfortunately, on the end of Alabama, the transfer portal is going to be hot. We already saw today that a number 9 recruit, a number 3 in the wide receiver, 4-star wide receiver, basically just decommitted today from Alabama after finding out that Nick Saban is leaving. So it's going to be a lot of that unfortunate news is going to be happening. And then I'll end it with this. This is a big set of shoes to fill. But the name that keeps circulating around there right now is Lane Kiffin. But that's going to be a big contract that they try to snatch.
Oh, boy. Oh, my God. I'm
just throwing it out there.
I must say it right now. If they do that, it's going to be a massive failure. Massive.
Yes.
Here's the thing.
Massive.
100% agree with you. 100% agree. Because here's the thing. Just because you worked under a legend like Nick Saban doesn't mean you're going to coach like Nick Saban. And people that are talking about wishing they can get Kirby Smart away from Georgia, he is too invested into Georgia, and what he has done for Georgia, it's already going to stand. I don't care what kind of checkbook or everything that you can throw at him. Get Kirby Smart's name off of the table. It's not going to happen. But Lane Kiffin, ladies and gentlemen up here on this panel, it's not going to work.
Lane Kiffin will take that job in a heartbeat. And
here's the thing.
It
fail miserably, and you're going to get a lot of people through the portal. I mean, we can look back at the places and the resume of Lane Kiffin, and one of them being where he literally just walked off the field and lost his job at that same time. I mean, hello? So that's not going to work. But at the same token, too, whoever they get, Alabama fans and the fan faithful should not expect that this person is going to turn this team around in very quickly. It's going to take a rebuild, some trusting, but expect right now the transfer portal and some decommits happening for the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Gary, very well said. Gary, your thoughts on Nick Saban? We're talking about Nick Saban's retirement.
Carroll, go either way.
I said jokingly in the group chat that this is a tremendous day for AARP. As far as the retirement,
AARP, yo.
Nah,
there's no age limit for AARP anymore.
No, shout out to them. But
shout out to the discounts.
Exactly. Listen, I respect
them. Double check.
I ain't knocking not a bit of it, but the fact of the matter is, we are watching the end of an era. None of us were. Well, I can't say none of us. Marissa, you were around for it, but you can't. I don't know if you can speak to when Bear Bryant retired. There's nothing. This is as seismic in college football of a coach leaving or retiring without scandal.
Right.
I had to put that out there because they're going to be like, well, what about Joe Paterno? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't want to go out that way. But the fact of the matter is, this is as big as Bear Bryant, and you saw it for when Bear Bryant retired, and I believe it was 78, and somebody will correct me on that, to when Nick Saban arrived in 2007, there was a lot of nothing in between. So fans of the Crimson Tide, you have to prepare yourselves, because unless you're getting somebody that has a championship pedigree, and really how many of them, especially in the college ranks, are available right now.
Mm-hmm.
we talk about Dabo Swinney. Yeah, sure, he could, but he's the king of Clemson right now. Why would he want to leave that? Kirby Smart. Why would he want to leave that? You're looking at a Lane Kiffin, and I know the wild card and what will eventually cause the downfall of college football altogether is if we end up with a Coach Prime in Tuscaloosa. Like I feel like that would be the matchup in hell, but who knows? But yeah, whoever they end up with, they're going to have to temper expectations because, I mean, sure, they could come out and have another 11-2 or 11-1 season, whatever the case may be. They could, but they could easily end up being a 500 team again and it being another long while before we see the Crimson Tide rise again.
And Gary, you said it very well said. It's teams, right? Everything has ebbs and flows. It happens all in sports. There's going to be times where you're rolling, you're clicking, everything is going well, then a coach leaves and they kind of go down. I don't think Alabama is ever again going to have this level of sustained success over a 14 to 18 year period that Alabama has had. There's going to be no way that you're going to be able to transcend even beyond Nick Saban, especially when you look at the landscape of college football with Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC, the level of expansion, the travel, not the travel portal, but the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. So for him, he is he is part of the old guard, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Right. Of recruiting the old fashioned way. And now we're going to be seeing, we look at this transfer portal. I mean, good God, how many quarterbacks have just been transferred from team to team because it's just been like free agency?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Sorry, Jeff. I was just going to say that if you listen to what Saban has been saying the last 2 years, this isn't a shock. He's been complaining about the transfer portal and the contracts, the NIL, for 2 years straight. So I get it. It's a bombshell, but it's not a huge shock.
No.
Given the way that he has been talking about, to your point, the way of college football landscape now is transfer portal, NIL, and he hates both of those things.
You know what, gentlemen? You know what's going away? The old ball coach. The Steve Spurriers of the world, the now Nick Sabans of the world, the Joe Paterno that you mentioned, the Bobby Petrinos, those that have been established for so long on one team for so many seasons.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, that's going to be obsolete.
Yeah.
We're not going to see a whole lot of that. Why? Because the NIL, the transfer portal, the opportunities to pull a college coach that is well established, that has turned a team around, that they were a whole handful of nothing. They turned around into this something. They won a few bowl games, and now you have the NFL looking into the college coaches to now you see them as, well, if they can go and turn this around, I wonder if they can, come up to the next level. And then those NFL teams don't have to pay outrageous big contracts for an established old football coach. Why? Because they're pulling them from the college ranks of, mentoring and coaching young men to now this level where they're coaching grown men that have either been rookies or established. Okay, so that's what's going away is the old ball coach that is set in their temperamental ways, that is set in the ways of the recruiting process, that want to have their hand all in the cookie jars and the higher ups cookie jars and all of that, right? So that's going away. That's obsolete. So that's another thing we're not going to see for a very long time is a coach that, if we see it, it's going to be amazing if they hit past that 10-year mark. But it's dissolving before our eyes, gentlemen.
Facts. Gary, what is the name that you have? And then, Ben, let's get to the NFL segment.
It's a name that needs a reclamation project like none other. I'm going to throw out there Urban Meyer.
When you said reclamation project, I knew the next words out of your mouth were Urban Meyer. And that is very, 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 very interesting.
I don't think it'll happen.
Interesting.
I don't think it'll happen, but keep that name on the radar, just because it could creep up and it could be that matchup that Alabama wants as far as a name and the reclamation project that Urban Meyer desperately needs if he wants any kind of legacy in the sport.
That's a good one. That's not bad.
Gary, please be
That
wrong.
wouldn't be. That wouldn't be bad. Honestly, that would.
I want. I
College,
love
that's
to
not a
be
bad
wrong,
hire.
but
Yeah.
I just. It's a name. It's a name to just have out there. Just.
Yeah, absolutely.
True.
I want to
But
be
for
wrong,
college,
but
it's not
God
a-
help me, it's a name.
Yeah.
But for college, it's really not a bad hire, though. Like it's like for
That's
college.
what I mean. He needs a kingdom, and Jacksonville wasn't going to be his kingdom no matter what. He needs a college kingdom because he's already proven it a couple of times. You know.
Yeah, Bowling Green, Utah, and Ohio State, and Florida.
There you go. He's won everywhere. All right, let's get to this NFL. Let's get to this NFL segment. Right, we're all going to name one positive surprise, one big disappointment. It could be in real life, it could be fantasy football, it could be team specific, player specific. Y'all get the skinny. But I believe in ladies first. And Tiffany, I'm going to throw it to you first. What is one positive and one big disappointment?
The positive. Hello.
There we go. Okay. Simple and to the point. I like it.
Where else were we going to start?
I mean, it's been only, a short 30 years since the wonderful Detroit Lions have claimed the NFC North. They used to be the NFC Central, that we finally get to hang some kind of banner up at the rafters of, the Sheila Ford Hamp Kingdom, aka Ford Field. I mean, it was such an accomplishment to see what they do this weekend against the Rams and welcoming back their former quarterback that they had for so many years, Matthew Stafford. And side note, those that wear, Matthew Stafford jerseys of the Detroit Lions form, do as you will, but prepare to be booed. It's, at your own risk. But anyways, that would be my high level of, excitement. We'll see how it goes and if they can win a playoff game for the first time since your girl here graduated from high school, which was 1991. The disappointment is the absolute collapse of a team that was hyped up and overrated from the beginning of the season, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. I have never seen the last 6 games where they couldn't get it together. I mean, number one, you lost to the Arizona Cardinals, the 3 and ungodly Arizona Cardinals, 35-31. That should sting in every single fan's heart of fly Eagles fly, the cry Eagles ? You are limping into the postseason where you have a Monday night destination game against the Baker Mayfields at a 9-8 record.
Marisa, you remember when World's Strongest Man used to be on ESPN?
Yes.
They're like one of them tires that are being dragged. They're not limping. They're like being dragged on the end of a 4-wheeler or 18-wheeler.
That pretty much is.
That's how bad they look right now.
It basically if the human version of a stock market was a team, that's basically what this is. They have to quickly figure this out or it's going to be a quick exit. And this could be all the momentum for Todd Bowles' job. Because I've questioned marks about, could there possibly be another job opening for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? If they do not win this game, Todd Bowles' lukewarm seat could be turned up to furnace. He's playing for his job. He's coaching. They're shifting kind of the lukewarmness to Nick Sirianno and figuring out what in the world happened to this team that was so red hot. What were they, gentlemen? Correct me if I'm wrong. Were they like 10-1 at some point?
10-1,
and now we're sitting at 11-6.
Yeah, 10-1 to 11.
That's a problem that they need to figure out quickly, and otherwise it's going to be ugly. But on both sides of the ball, that Monday night game is what I got my eye on, and see which team. I don't care if it's a field goal, a safety, but which coach can out-coach the other coach and literally save their job. And then, side note, if the Philadelphia Eagles don't get it together, expect this to be a swan song for Jason Kelce, who should be, in my opinion, a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Agreed. And what I'm going to say on the Eagles is that even when they were 10-1, to Gary like to say, they were still a fugazi 10-1. Okay. When we look at the whole course of the whole entire season leading up to it, Jalen Hurts' numbers were down precipitously across all categories. And the man has been turning the ball over ad nauseum even when they were winning. But they gave him a pass because they won. And as Shannon Sharp said the exact same thing on First Take. This Eagles team has been a very, very average team all season long. And when we said with the 3 games, with the 2 against the Giants and as well as the Cardinals, I even said it multiple times. There's no guarantee that they're going to be able to win all 3 games because this team just is not the same. Now AJ Brown is out with the knee injury. It's gonna. I think they're going to lose by a touchdown against Tampa Bay. That's all I'm going to say on that. Who's next?
Gary, have at it. Positive and disappointment. Have at it.
Positive, as I've said many times, and I said it when it happened Sunday night, that the Houston Texans were going to F around and win this division, and that's exactly what happened. I think, as CJ Stroud is the truth. Chicago is kicking themselves not Chicago.
Carolina.
Carolina,
yes.
Yep.
By virtue of Chicago, but either way.
Yes, yep.
Both those franchises are kicking themselves because both those franchises are questioning their quarterback right now. Meanwhile, Houston has a home playoff game, and nobody said that to start the season, but they got it right, and really good for them because they've deserved it, and especially in the wake of the Deshaun Watson debacle and all that, like they deserved a much needed, a much needed boost there. So that's my positive. The disappointment, I mean, we could talk about Jeff's Broncos, but why would we? That's a little hanging fruit.
I mean, you can't, because right now Sean and Russell could kiss makeup and Russell could be staying.
I don't.
Yes,
Russell
is a run.
Russell, come to East Rutherford. Your wife wants to be back out here. Stop playing. Sorry, I digress. But speaking of East, but speaking of East Rutherford, for my disappointment, it's not so much the fact that the Giants went 6-11. It really isn't. It's all of this nonsense that's coming up after the fact. Now Wake Martindale is gone and his 2 lieutenants are gone. You're questioning about whether Mike Kafka is going to come back, and it's so crazy because here we are 1 year ago. We were gloating. We were like, okay, we figured something out. We have something here. We have a decent quarterback. We know what Saquon Barkley is. We went into Minnesota, beat Minnesota, a division winner, in their building.
Yep.
It was all good a year ago. And yet here we are now. We're questioning whether or not Brian Daboll is in fact Ben McAdoo, just with his hair, with all the hair loss and everything. And we're sitting here questioning whether 2024 is going to be another lost year. There's too many questions. We don't know about the health of Daniel Jones. Our offensive line is still a sieve, no matter what. That hasn't been fixed since well before Eli's demise and downturn in his career. There are far more questions with this Giants team than any Giants fan had previously had thought of. So yes, they're the disappointment, not because of the record, but because of what could come from all of this going forward.
I'm sad about the chicken cutlet era just going away real quick too, man. Let's just throw that in.
That was Italian Linsanity.
It was. The cutlets was on the rise.
Italian Linsanity, yes.
It was the Italian Linsanity.
Yes.
It was fun while it lasted. It was a good story. The agent he had a couple. He didn't have an agent, but either way, that was a fun story, especially in a year that had no reason to be fun towards the end. But let's be honest, whether Tommy DeVito starts the season as quarterback or not, there's still questions about Daniel Jones when he comes back, if he's going to come back, whether he's going to be. See, and the damn thing is we can't even say whether he's going to be as good as he was when he left, because what was he when he left? And his good last season was very mediocre by everybody's standards. We glorified 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, and he flipped that into a $140 million contract. So God bless him. But
yeah, for sure. I'll be quick. NFL positive. I'm going to stick with the team and CeeDee Lamb. I didn't think he could be this good. And I don't think most Cowboys fans, if they're being completely honest, thought he could be this good. But number one in the NFL in catches, number one yards after catch, number one in 20-plus receiving plays, number two in catches, number two in receiving yards, number two in first down catches. That's like 8 categories that he's 1 or 2. I'm not saying he's the first or the second best receiver in the league, but I don't think you can put him outside the top 7. And I'd say top 6, maybe top 5. Like, no doubt better than CeeDee Lamb. I would say Tyreek. I would say Jefferson. I'd say Chase. Like, no doubt. The next 3 or 4, St. Brown and CeeDee Lamb, like, who would you take? Like, I don't know. They're both really, really good. I'm on St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb. They're both amazing. So, like, there's only 3 for me definitively better than CeeDee Lamb. And then he's got to be somewhere in your next 3 or 4. I didn't think, and most Cowboys fans, they're being completely honest, did not think he could be this good. So that's a pleasant surprise, positive surprise. And the negative, we're just going to keep piling on the Eagles, but I'm going to focus on a player, Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry. I know you're injured. We can all see you're injured. But you got paid. You got big, big money. And you deserved it. You almost won a Super Bowl. And you turned that into 3rd most interceptions in the NFL this year and the 4th most turnovers, fumbles and interceptions. Only 3 quarterbacks had more turnovers. Only 2 had more interceptions. Like, that's a big drop-off.
Yeah.
From basically the MVP. For the first 14 games last year, he was the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
He would have won MVP if he didn't get hurt. And now you're talking about him almost leading the league in interceptions. That's a nosedive. That's crazy. That's such a contrast difference.
And Gary, your thoughts on the Eagles real quick?
This team reminds me of the 08 Giants. Like, the 08 Giants came out the season just hot. Like, I believe they were 11-1 to start the season, and they finished 12-4, and then their season just came to a crashing halt, ironically enough, against the Eagles in the playoffs. Like, we were riding high. We were doing, beating people left and right, and then it kind of just, towards the end of the season, started to fall by the wayside. Obviously, we had the whole Plaxico burst nonsense that happened too, but it's that tale from being in a Super Bowl the year before and really kind of just running roughshod on the league, and then just here we are. Like, so yes, I think of all the matchups this weekend, I think Tampa Bay beating them in the beating them wild card weekend is the most feasible, really.
Yeah. All fair facts. I'm gonna be quick. I'm gonna say for one positive surprise is how dominant the Ravens have been down the stretch, considering how their season has started and considering all the offseason, considering all of the offseason hoopla and the collusion against Lamar Jackson not getting a contract extension to getting a contract extension to just flat out balling out and being the not MVP of the league, but literally the MVP of his team. You have to remember this Ravens team had Odell Beckham Jr., who's been off and on with injuries. You look at now, Mark Andrews is gone. All their running backs have been gone. And then, the rookie receiver that they had is gone. The injuries that they've had on defense, but they've just been continuing to find ways to win. This has been a team that also lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers and lost to the Indianapolis Colts, right? 2 teams that aren't necessarily going to scare you offensively. And for them to finish the season 13-4 and have a chance to really win a Super Bowl and then to travel across the country and dominate the 49ers in the way that they did, man, you got to give them props. And I got to give my hometown team some love on that one because Lamar Jackson, this team is really clicking. I hope they win. I'm now on the Ravens bandwagon now that my Denver Broncos have been eliminated, but we will save that for another day.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Real quick, I'm sorry. Can we give Mike Tomlin some love? Because God help us.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Again, he keeps doing this. I don't understand. He's dragged something out of Mason Rudolph yet again.
Oh, Gary, I didn't mean to interrupt. The Steelers that this is going to make your point, even not that you weren't making your point, but the Buffalo Bills, who they're playing, have a plus 140 point differential, plus 140. The Steelers' point differential is negative 20.
Make it make sense.
That's
Plus
wild.
one-
That is so wild.
Marissa, I know it too because I said it on a podcast and someone else's pod last night. 140 plus negative 20.
I get that they haven't won a playoff game since 2016. Like I get all of that, but if he's gone, just like if you fired him, I think it's almost as
Who are you
bad as
replacing?
to a lower level to Mike Vrabel being fired. Okay, that's all I'm going to say on that.
Yeah,
that man's
But
leaving.
the story came out today that apparently, and he had mentioned, Mike Tomlin, that he wanted to take some time away from the team, whether it be a permanent thing, whether it be, just temporarily. They don't know about that. That came out earlier today. They were talking about that on ESPN's First Take.
Okay. And then one big disappointment. I remember I was watching the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think it was week 12, and they were 8-3. And they were playing Cincinnati. They were playing Cincinnati with a backup quarterback, and they lost that game. Albeit, I get that it was on the road. And Ben, you and I talked about it. Were they going to be the opposite of what the Lions were as far as starting off really good, but then just completely falling versus the Lions last year? Falling
so
and
that
then
game,
rising.
That game, I got a small correct you. Small correct you. They're 8-3, had their bye at home against the 49ers, who also had their bye, lost by like 30-something points.
Mm-hmm.
The next game was
the next
home.
game. Okay.
The next game was next game was Bengals Jaguars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bengals.
Okay.
But that was the back-to-back weeks. That was back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. But thank you for the correction. But you get what I'm saying. This team had everything in front of them.
Yeah. They fall flat on their face.
Right, and the people that say, well, Trevor Lawrence was injured even before the high ankle sprain that he suffered. I had a lot of shares in him in fantasy football. He was very, very, very average. Okay, even before the injury. Okay, I have concerns. I have serious concerns about him being that true number one, like talent that we think, or is he just going to be just an average quarterback? Because this was their best opportunity in a very long time to not just win the division, make a deep run. You got ATN, the best running back, arguably, probably one of them. I mean, you had all those weapons, but I completely disappointment, and it's just a shame that they didn't make the playoffs. But I used my time. But Ben, I'm going to give it to you, sir, on the
So brand new segment here. It's gonna be a battle, and it's gonna be for the first battle we're gonna have on DTS. And this style is gonna be Jeff versus Gary. Pretty simple. Jeff, you got 2 minutes. Gary, you got 2 minutes, and I'm gonna count down the last 10 seconds. So it's gonna be like a hard stop, kind of like 8 Mile movie with the rap battles, whatever. So
8 Mile,
like a 10 second. I'll just do this. I won't say it out loud. When you see this, you better wrap it up. So they do not know the topic. This is the first time they have not prepared. They don't know what this topic is. So the topic is Draymond Green, and you can both agree however you want to do it. It doesn't matter. Simple. NBA reinstated him. Is the suspension too long? Is it not long enough? Should they have done it differently? Should they have fined him more? Should they? So here we go. We're going to go Jeff first, and we're going to go in 15 seconds because it's going to be 9:16 exactly. So it's going to be, in 5 seconds, you're going to start. 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
12 games, too short. He punched a player. He punched a teammate. He stepped on Sabonis's chest. He he choked another player, and he physically assaulted another player, all within a 16-month time frame. That suspension is too short. He should have been suspended for the year and not being allowed to come back until next season. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, he doesn't need his 2 minutes. Okay,
No, I don't.
That's it. Gary, you gotta start in 7 seconds. You're gonna start, just for my purposes. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm also not going to need the 2 minutes either, but I will simply say this. Is 12 games enough? Hey, listen, I think there's been a lot of egregious actions and actions by NBA players over the last year, on and off the court. We don't have to go into all great details with any of that. But as Draymond Green said, Adam Silver is there to help rehabilitate rather than just straight up punish. And that's where he differs from his predecessor, David Stern. David Stern was a disciplinarian, and he wanted to punish, and he wanted to lay the hammer down and in a very, be very authoritative. See Ron Artest, or whatever his name is now. To that, I do say that there's a little bit of this coming off as Adam Silver being a bit of an enabler, in the sense of like, listen, we don't want to punish you because yes, you're one of the star players or one of the faces of our league, but this is where we had David Stern kind of lay the hammer down so that these people, after that year-long suspension for Ron Artest, can anybody tell me the longest number of games he was suspended post that incident?
My guess would be 26.
He was only the longest suspension that he served post the Mouse of the Palace was a 7-game suspension for elbowing James Harden in the playoff before the playoffs.
You have 10 seconds, sir.
So my point is, when David Stern did it, it had an impact and it stuck, and there was less repeat offenders.
Okay.
Adam Silver, we've seen it.
All right. Jeff, in about 5 seconds, I'm going to give it to you. You have 30 seconds, and you're going to go right now. 30 seconds, go.
Very quick, Ron Artest didn't have the same type of offenses that Draymond Green did in a very short amount of time. Those situations in real life that he's done is literally assault, and you can literally go to jail for that. Literally choking someone, punching them, stepping them on the chest. Someone could have died, okay? You don't step on someone's chest. Their breathing or their heart could go down. They can have a cardiac arrest and die. So that's where I stand. You can't assault people. Should have been much longer. You go to jail. People get killed over that stuff.
Okay, Gary, you're going to start in 10 seconds. Give me, because you're going to be done at 9:20 exactly. So 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. 30 seconds, go.
Forgive me if it's just the fact that I am a child of the 90s, but all the things you said, the punches, the steps on the chest, the kicks, all that stuff, being punched in the face, that all happened in Knicks games in the 90s, and nobody got suspended. Maybe a quick $500 fine, but that was about it. So forgive me if I'm a little old school and, how bad could it be?
People's elbow.
Saying that
you got 5 seconds.
2023, 24, you can do these things. I'm hoping that he learned his lesson and that we don't have any more of these offenses.
That's a wrap. And now for the first battle in DTS history in that format, I have to declare a winner, and I am going to go with Gary.
What?
And
once again,
I'm gonna go with Gary. And Gary, as long as you have a topic, we're just gonna keep it moving, and me and Jeff are gonna do our battle. My explanation, which I don't have to as a judge. I don't have to.
What is your explanation?
Gary entertained me more.
Oh,
it was more entertaining.
Awesome, bull, man. Facts are facts, bro. Facts are facts.
He was presenting facts as well, but it was entertaining.
Oh, geez.
Hey, Gary,
you got boring, Jeff.
You got one for me and Jeff, Gary?
I got to add a little pizzazz. I got to make sure to add a little pizzazz this time.
Hold on.
I do.
You got one. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's 9:21. You do the same exact thing that I did. Introduce the topic, and you can choose Jeff or me to go first. Your choice.
Okay.
First, the topic. What do we got?
The topic. It's a matchup within the NFL playoffs coming up this wild card weekend. It involves, Ben, your Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers. I think this debate is about Mike McCarthy and whether or not he keeps his job, whether they lose to Green Bay.
Okay, so we're specifically specific McCarthy keeping his job if they lose this weekend.
If they lose this weekend, Ben, I'm tasking you with defending keeping Mike McCarthy as the head coach. If you can, if that's your way,
if that's the way that I want to do. So we're about to be 9:22. So I got 9:24. So I got till 9:24. I'm gonna go now.
Yeah, Ben, go
okay.
Whenever you're ready.
So Mike McCarthy, if he loses to his old team, he's gone. That's it. There's no. It doesn't matter any ref controversy. The flip side of what happened to Detroit when Detroit got screwed. I don't even care if that happens to us and we get screwed and Green Bay wins. I don't care. You are the 2 seed. You are at home. You've won 16 straight games at home. You're playing Jordan Love, who has had a good season, actually arguably great season, number 2 in the entire NFL in TD passes behind Dak. So Jordan Love has played very, very well. Way too early to say he's going to have the career of Favre or Rodgers, because anybody who thinks that the door is over here, I'm not talking to you anymore. Like, it's just one season. Like, no, Favre and Rodgers are Hall of Famers, are going to be. So, no. Back to McCarthy, though, because that's the topic. He is absolutely gone if he loses this weekend. And I am not here to defend him keeping his job if he loses this weekend. No, Gary, I got 9:24. I still got 45 seconds.
Listen, I'm not really keeping track, so
I got you. I got 40 seconds.
I'm glad somebody is. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you good. No, I got 35. You're cutting into my time. No, I'm just kidding.
Go ahead.
But yeah, no, McCarthy's gone. If they lose this weekend, he's gone. No excuses. Like, you're the 2 seed. You've won 16 games in a row at home, including every game this year at home. Jordan Love, this is his first year starting. I believe it's his 4th year in the league. First year starting, and he's throwing to receivers who are in their 2nd or 1st year. They have played well, but that is who you're going against, and the Packers' defense is blah, and Dak and CD have been balling. McCarthy is fired if he loses, and boom, I'm done. That's my 2 minutes. Jeff, I will do it since I got the clock right here on my laptop. I will go. I'll tell you. You ready to go now?
Yep.
Go now. I got the 2 minutes. Go.
All right. Cowboys at home averaging 39.7 points per game at home. Defense is only giving up 18.5 points per game on defense, I believe. When they're on the road, they're only averaging about 20 to 21 points a game on the road. You're at home. You won the division. You're at home. Your offense is one of the top 5 offenses in the league, especially when you're at home. If you lose this game to a very underwhelming, very sporadic, very young, even though emerging Green Bay Packers team, he should not keep his job. Really that simple. I cannot defend it. This is probably one of the better chances for them to be able to win a Super Bowl. Jerry Jones, for instance, he doesn't have much time. He is 80 years old. That man is ready to die. He's ready to go, and he wants a Super Bowl. Mike McCarthy, now that he has a play calling,
he looks like the Crypt
doing
Keeper.
The exact same thing. He's essentially doing the exact same thing as his old offensive coordinator had. He said he wanted to run the ball more, but now he's passing even more than they did last season. Now he's taking responsibility for the play calling, and he cannot hide behind his offensive coordinator. So I cannot defend him. I'm done.
All right.
I want to call an audible.
Well, no, we got a rebuttal. We just get 30
seconds. I want to get Tigney in this. This one's going to be fun. Can we do a 3-way?
Why not?
Sure.
Shit, why not? Gary can judge it for 3 of us. Oh, yeah, Tigney, you
it's
win.
Our game, our rule.
Tigney.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, our game.
Let's do this.
Marissa,
let's get you in, Tigney.
Marissa, you can start at 9:26 if you're ready. It's like 5 seconds. You get till 9:28. You're on mute. Okay, you ready?
I'm here.
You got 2 minutes. Ready? Go.
Here's the thing. I don't need long at all. This is going to be interesting. If you do get rid of Mike McCarthy because he cannot beat the Packers, it kind of defies the whole entire investment of what you all had. You had the professional hand clapper 3-4 seasons longer than you should have. And you know exactly who I'm talking about there right now is on the NBC.
Jason Garrett.
Doing his whole entire, life over there. Yeah, I agree with the gentleman. I mean, you need to move on from somebody who just keeps this team stuck in neutral when it comes to big games, when it comes to them moving the meter where it should be. I want the game of all games to happen. I want Detroit to handle the Rams. I want Dallas to handle the Packers. And I want Detroit, Dallas 2.0 in the postseason. That's what the people want. That's what's going to put the booties in the seats. Let's get past these teams and give the people what they want. And if Mike McCarthy shuts down my dreams and shut down his dreams, take away his paycheck, and let's move on to another coach.
Okay, Tigney, you good?
I'm great.
All right, so now we're all going to go. We're going to go our 30 seconds. We'll go in the same order. I'll go my last 30 seconds. Jeff, your last 30. Marissa, your last 30. After Marissa, Gary says who wins. And I'm going to start right now. So, in summary, if he loses this weekend, I don't care how, why, how much, if it's Dak's fault, if it's CD's fault, if somebody fumbles, somebody intercepts, I don't care what the reason is. I really, really, really don't care. If McCarthy loses to Green Bay, I don't care if it's by a point. I don't care if it's by 30 points. I don't care if it's by 10 points. He's fired. He should be fired. He will be fired. There is absolutely no excuse. You don't lose to a 7 seed at home as a 2 seed when you've won 16 games in a row. So, yes, I don't care what the final score is. If the Cowboys lose, he's fired. Jeff, you can go in 5 seconds if that's good with you.
Yeah.
And go. 30 seconds, go.
Look, there's two sample sizes. The man, as far as an offensive play caller, can be very anemic. Their schemes clearly are not working when they're on the road. I got nothing else to say. I don't really care if I win. He should not come back. I think we all agree. It is what it is. I yield my time. If I lose, whatever, sue me. We all agree.
Okay, Marissa, for simplicity purposes, you're going to start at 9:29, which is in 7 seconds. So you got 30 seconds starting in 2, 1, go.
Listen, this sweepstakes for one particular person right now is going to be hotter than ever, and that's Mike Vrabel. If nothing happens with Bill Belichick, if he decides that he's going to stay on the New England Patriots, if it so happens that the man that you could not beat his former team ends up being let go get Mike Vrabel.
All righty. Battle number
That's a good
2
point.
seems to be over. Gary, your job. Declare a winner.
So a lot of compelling arguments here. I'm going to give this one to Ben because it may be the only Cowboys victory of this postseason.
Oh, woo! That's a burn. That's a burn.
Daggone it.
Burn.
Man,
That's a burn.
Wow.
my team is falling
That's
apart.
a good
Leave me
You
alone.
got Jason Garrett,
Oh
then
my
Ben
God.
Holloway, and then
Oh,
Mike McCarthy.
y'all, and then y'all invoke the name of Coach 9-7. No, please. Oh, Coach 9-7
Why don't
Garrett.
you go? Hey, Gary, you need to mail him that belt then. I mean,
Wait, hold on.
That's phenomenal.
Do you mean this belt?
That one right
This belt
there.
here?
That
This one
right
here? Yes.
My man really got that belt.
Yes, I did.
Oh my God.
Everybody
Oh,
look
man.
at it.
I don't know about y'all, but those two
That's the
battles
money
were-
shot.
that-
That's the
those-
money
those-
shot.
Those 2 battles were extremely entertaining for me. That was amazing.
That was the money shot.
I got to be honest. That was awesome. And you guys want to keep it going, or people got to jump?
I do
Yeah,
have
you
to.
gotta-
I got a job.
Jeff, you good, or you need to
Ben,
go?
Ben, just get loud. I want to hear you get loud.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
go for
I
it.
cannot skip that. Okay, so
Yes, and then we will keep it on.
so we got to go with the Colts and the Dolphins, and how their seasons, although the Miami's still playing, their season didn't fully end, but the Indianapolis Colts. Okay, you're playing Houston Saturday night, elimination game. You lose, you're out. You're on the 15-yard line, 15 yards away from a touchdown. You're losing 23-17. A touchdown and an extra point. You're in the playoffs. You're on the 15-yard line. You have 4th and 1. If you don't get the 4th and 1, your season is over. No tiebreakers. No, you are eliminated. It's 4th and 1. I got a great idea, guys. You know what? And our most important play of the season. So we have Michael Pittman. We have Mo Alley Cox. We have Jonathan Taylor. We have Alec Pierce. We have Michael Pittman. We got, and you know what? No. I don't want any of those guys to touch the ball. None of them. No. Jonathan Taylor, go on the sidelines. No, we don't want you. Most important play of our season. Sorry, you're on the bench. The genius of Shane Steichen, which, to be fair, he did a good job getting them to 9-8. But I'm sorry, when you're the play caller and you decide on 4th and 1 on your most important play of the season, your play call is to throw it to Tyler Goodson. Tyler freaking Goodson. Your season is on the line. I'm going to rely on Tyler freaking Goodson, whoever that is, because I had never heard that name until the announcer said it on that night. So that's the Colts. But the Dolphins almost one-up them. And, like, their season technically isn't over, but they made another extremely, extremely stupid mistake. So they're playing Buffalo. If they win the game, they're the 2 seed. They're down 21-14 in the fourth quarter, 2nd and 10 on the Buffalo 40-yard line. So you're driving. You're going down the field. You're not, at the 10-yard line yet, but you're driving. You're moving the ball. 2nd and 10, like a minute and a half left. And we're going to throw it to not Tyreek. Nope. Not Waddle. I know he didn't play, but not Tyreek, not Waddle, not A-Chain, not, well, Mostert didn't play. But you out of healthy players, you got A-Chain and Tyreek and Cedric Wilson, who I would all say deserve the ball way more than Mr. Chase Claypool. And the genius of Mike McDaniel with, again, number 2 seed on the line, AFC East on the line, let's throw it on the sidelines in a difficult throw to Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool, by the way, played 9 games for the Dolphins. 9 freaking games he played for the Dolphins. In those 9 games, he had 4 catches. 4 catches in 9 games. Most important play of our season, let's throw it to him. It's just stupid. I can't, like, it's beyond stupid. Both of those play calls is absolutely ridiculous. It's just so stupid.
Ben, the minute that everybody realizes that Mike McDaniel, the minute we realize that Mike McDaniel is actually just Nick Kroll in disguise, the further along we'll be. Because he is. That's Nick Kroll.
That's good.
I'll put it this way. I have not seen Nick Kroll and him in the same room at the same time.
Oh, my God.
There.
The zingers this evening, the zingers have been amazing. Gary.
I can't believe your season is on the line, and those are the 2 players you decide to make the throw to. Tyler Goodson and freaking Chase Claypool. Like, what the hell are you doing?
When you have a comedian as your coach, this is what happens.
Like, comedian with skinny ankles.
Yes.
It's pure insanity. It's insanity. Gary, Jeff, you're about to say something. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know. My computer just completely debunked. I don't know what the heck happened on that one. But no, that they're the same team. They're the same organization that tried to give Jeff Saturday a look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Marinate on that one for a minute. Yeah,
there you go.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, this is not the smartest. This is, I mean, I don't know whose idea they thought Jeff Saturday.
Speaking of, listen, here's the thing, gentlemen. Speaking of Jeff Saturday, don't be surprised if he gets an opportunity to interview for one of these teams. Now you see all of these head coaching vacancies.
No.
I know, I'm just throwing it out there. Interview.
I'm not arguing with you directly at all because he might.
He wants a second shot.
But
he wants a second shot. Right.
You want a second shot, and I'm an owner or I'm a GM and I'm making a decision. Guess what? You're not the head coach. You want to be a coach and work your way up. Fine. Coach the freaking offensive line. You're not my head coach. If you want to coach the offensive line, go ahead. And if you do great with that, and then maybe you do great with something else, then we'll offer you a head coaching job. Why don't you coach what you're amazing at, which Jeff Saturday is either in the Hall of Fame or going to be in the Hall of Fame? So you can coach offensive line. And if you don't want that job, get the hell out of here and go back to TV.
Yeah. But fun stuff, guys. It was great.
Marissa, I'm so happy you could join us. I'm really happy. I'm really happy.
I just have to say one thing before we go. The University of UConn women's basketball team have lost 4 players to season-ending injuries with ACL tears.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is that training staff needs to get a second look, and their certifications need to get checked out. I've never seen that.
Can we find out if the Baltimore Ravens training staff also is somehow in Stores, Connecticut?
Yeah,
could be.
I know.
If possible, can they also learn how to coach basketball because the Pistons are now 35 losses? So
Oh God. Ooh.
Hey, you got your Lions and you got Michigan. You can't have it all. Okay?
Yeah, I want it all.
You can't have it all. By the
way, the Red Wings. So on the Red Wings.
That Lions-Rams game, I'm telling you, besides the Cowboys game, is literally the game I'm most excited
Under
about.
the lights, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Lions-Rams, that is.
Shout out to everybody going into the parade this weekend. Go Blue.
Yeah. And who's ever going to that Kansas City Chiefs game, the temperature is going to be 0 degrees with a negative 10-degree wind chill.
Well, Nick Kroll and his skinny ankles, I'm sure they're going to bundle up because, they're not going to be prepared for that. That was for you, Ben.
But guys, this has been fun. It's been fun. It's always
hail, the gang's all here.
Good luck to y'all's teams this weekend. And that's great.
That was a banger for 2024 first episode. That was a banger.
Sure, for sure.
That was a banger.
2 years, 2-year episode next month, man. 2 years.
Absolutely.
2 years. But anywho, that's all for today's episode, folks. We appreciate all the love and support. Until next time, take care and Happy New Year. And that is great.
Gary.